Hello everyone and welcome to today's session, Combating Ransomware Attacks, Strategies for Detection, Prevention and Response. This is the second session in our series with George Dobrea. If you missed the first session, you can find the link to watch it in the chat section. I am Shilpa Sharma and I'll be your host for the day. Before we get started, we would like to go over a few house rules. For our attendees, the session will be in listen-only mode and will last for an hour, out of which last 15 minutes will be dedicated to Q&A. Also, admissions are currently open. For further details about our courses, please visit our website www.eccu.edu. Our speaker for today's session, George Dobrea. He is co-founder and CEO of XEDUCO Institute. George is a cybersecurity expert and well-known technical instructor with over 35 years of business experience delivering consulting services and training programs to military, commercial, and public organizations in 30+ countries. Without any further delay, I would hand over the session to you, George.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining our session today. Hope you are enjoying summertime. We are going to discuss about ransomware today. So thank you very much, Shilpa, for your kind introduction. So I'm running a company providing cybersecurity, research, training, and consulting services. Our customers are based in different areas of the world, most of them in Europe, as well in the United States, in Asia, in Africa. I'm enjoying to traveling a lot, helping people and organizations to improve the security of their assets. Effectively, I'm preparing the blue team guys, the defenders, forensic investigators, incident responders, threat intelligence analysts. I'm preparing as well the red team guys, ethical hackers, and as well penetration testers. I'm preparing as well the purple team guys. I'll tell you a bit more about this, and the chief information security officers. We have a very good cooperation with ECCU University, the organization hosting our webinar today. Thank you very much for your very open cooperation for a long time. Well, about ransomware, I'm not going to discuss the basics. I guess anyone in audience is very familiar with this topic. But today we are bringing into our conversation a different perspective. First of all, I'm going to insist about the latest tactics and techniques used by the attackers in the recent ransomware attacks. And second, we are discussing about improving the ransomware protection strategy in order to defend against those attacks. Sharing some, well, from my experience, the experience of my customers, sometimes very painful experience, unfortunately, something that could be helpful to anyone. You know how it's working, a ransomware attack, yeah. It's actually creating a big damage to the organization. And even if you do believe you are very well prepared, it's happening something which is actually not sticking in your plan. It's out of your expertise area. You didn't consider before, but because the attackers are actually quite smart. They want actually to create the maximum damage to the organizations, the business damage, and making you to pay a ransom, of course, yeah. Your reputation as well. Reputational harm, it's quite high in a lot of situations, and the legal ramifications as well we have to consider. Well, if we're discussing about the ransomware attack costs, because this is very important, any organization is very aware about this, there is a high cost. Beside the extortion payments, if your organization is deciding to pay actually the ransom, you have a huge lost income because of the business interruption. You have the recovery expenses to consider, forensic expenses, data recovery expenses as well, some fines, regulatory fines you have to pay because of violation of the law, not implemented best protection plan. You have the monitoring cost to support the notification cost, and this is just a basic scenario, or ransomware scenario, because in most of the attacks nowadays, you have to consider as well the data breach associated, even stealing and then publishing the data of your company, of your customers, of your partners, which is making the situation even worse. If you're looking at the reports related to the recent ransomware attacks, we can see some very active ransomware criminal groups. Logbin, it's definitely in top. Nearly 1,000 attacks, ransomware attacks, generated by this ransomware group and their affiliates were reported in 1.5 years. Yeah, Black Cat, Club, Akira, Blackbuster, which is associated to Logbit actually. Maybe you know the story of this, because officially Logbit, it was dismantled, but after that they started again to operate using a different infrastructure, using different name, but the same approach. If we're talking about the ransom demands, you can see a trend to increase the ransom demand. Yeah. Before asking for a ransom, the attackers are profiling you very well. They know your business reports, they know your capability of payment. And we are seeing nowadays, in most of the attacks, we're talking about millions of euros, the ransom payment demand. We've seen this year the largest ransom demand in the history. You know how big? $75 million. An organization in Forbes, which is a top 50 organization. The name, it was not officially disclosed, but they were victim of Dark Angels ransomware criminal group, and they had to pay 75 million euros, just a single ransom incident. Yeah, this is the trend to increase actually the level of demand. Yeah, as well, another report generated by Chainalysis, they are actually monitoring, they're tracking the transfer of funds, illicit transfer of funds, and illegal payments, different type of crimes. And you can see in their latest report published a few days ago, you can see ransomware, it's in top of illicit payments of cryptocurrency platform. In the same level actually as terrorist financing, child abuse material, and some other very relevant illegal payments. That may be revealed on those platforms, cryptocurrency platforms. So it's about a lot of money, actually, billions of US dollars. Okay, so recovery time, another metric. You can see, comparing the last 3 years, the recovery time in ransomware attacks, it's increasing. You can see in dark blue the current year, and you can see the dark blue bar here up to 1 month, 1 to 3 months, and 3 to 6 months, the full recovery of the business status of the services affected by a ransomware attack. You can see the trend here. It's definitely the recovery time, it's increasing. So the attacks are more and more dangerous. Another fact revealed by the Sophos report published recently, it's that one actually more and more organizations are paying the ransom. Even they may be using backup, trying to recover the data, but more and more organizations are willing to pay the ransom just to make sure that are increasing the chance to recover the services, their business services. As well, I told you a few minutes ago about it's not ransomware, it's not just about the encryption of files or locking your system, but the data it's stolen. This trend, it was started in, just in 2019 by the Maze ransomware group, and now it's a very common approach. In more and more attacks, you can see actually criminals are stealing your data, and if you decide not to pay the ransom, it's empowering them, If you're deciding to not pay the ransom because you are relying on a very good backup strategy, they're saying, okay, good luck, but before encrypting your files, we exfiltrated your files and we're going to publish the data of your people, your customers, your partners, and this is creating even more reputational harm for your organization. And you can see some organizations are more vulnerable than the others, like IT technologies, for example, for stealing the data. Government organizations and so on are actually, you can see a larger percent of the situations, ransomware attacks, when the data is as well stolen and creating more damage to the organization. Very frequent and increasing actually target of the ransomware attacks are actually it's about the industrial control systems, SCADA systems, because those systems are actually managing critical services for an organization. And a situation in a large conflict, because a lot of ransomware groups are supported by our nation state sponsored, supported by official organization. If it is not officially recognized, actually the damage created to critical services could be very, very high. Manufacturing system, according to Drago's report this year, manufacturing organizations are very frequently targeted by ransomware attacks. And you can see in the left and the right side, you can see actually the number of the attacks generated by different ransomware groups against industrial systems. Okay, another trend, because we're still discussing about the trends we are seeing now in the ransomware attacks. The criminal groups, they did learn how efficient is to target the supply chain. Instead of targeting just an individual victim, they're targeting the supply chain, and after that they can pick a lot of victims, to deploy the attack to a lot of victims, Kaseya, attacks. You're probably familiar with the Kaseya generated by the Reveal ransomware group. They were targeting after a virtual server administrator VSA platform. They were hacking many managed service providers, and eventually targeting the end systems, maybe millions of devices. What is very interesting, because this is a real trend, targeting the supply chain to get access to more and more victims very easily. You can see, for example, one of the attack vectors, it's PowerShell. You're familiar with PowerShell. It's a scripting language of Microsoft. It's implemented on every single Windows system. It's efficient, because actually it's PowerShell, it's enabling a good control of the systems to deploy updates, to monitor the security. Many people are saying, why Microsoft is not disabling totally PowerShell, but you are losing a lot of functionality of the systems, making those systems even more vulnerable. But by the way, if you are checking actually just the commandlet, the guys of Reveal, actually they were deploying to the end systems to encrypt the files on the end system. It was just a PowerShell commandlet, very long one. First of all, disabling actually all monitoring systems, antivirus reporting systems, and so on, network protection, auditing, and so on. And after that, using Certutil, this is a tool which is included in the operating system, and it's actually updating the certificates, the list of certificates on the system. So it's a legitimate program. And the ransomware agent.exe, it was renamed as a certificate agent CRT, and accordingly deployed to every single system using certitude. Very smart idea and very efficient for the attackers. Generating, targeting a lot of systems, and it was a very dangerous attack. This one against Kaseya. Ransomware platforms are quite complex nowadays, including multiple players. So the main actor, it's the provider of ransomware as a service platform, and this one is developing and maintaining the tools. It's actually providing a payment platform, connected to cryptocurrency platforms, and so managing the victim messaging, managing the negotiation with the victim, and actually renting such powerful platform to the affiliate. And those guys are actually generating the effective attack, persisting on the system, exfiltrating the data, move lateral in the network, identifying the victims, distributing, running the ransomware payload. And in a lot of situations, the ransomware as a service affiliate, it's connected to an access broker, collecting, buying information like compromised credentials, for example, in order to generate the initial access to the victim systems. So it's a complex platform. This one, ransomware as a service. Many ransomware groups are operating now in this type. I told you previously about Lockbit, the most powerful ransomware group. You can see here different techniques identified. There is a code associated to each technique they are using, a code which is actually defined on MITRE ATT&CK platform. Probably most of you familiar with this platform, MITRE ATT&CK. And you can see how many different techniques they are using in order to do the initial access, to escalate the privilege, and to do actually the encryption. First of all, stopping the backup, deleting shadow copies on the infected machines, and after that, encrypting the files and displaying the ransom note. So a very complex environment using multiple techniques. About the initial access to the compromised system, to the target systems, the attackers are using consistently the latest major vulnerabilities discovered. You can see this list, a recent list of the vulnerabilities used by the attackers. Most of them are related to remote access. Remote access vulnerabilities. And probably you are familiar with one of the last discovered vulnerability. This one affecting the VMware ESXi hypervisors. It was about the capability. It was a bug, anyone with the right to creating a group, able to create a group, ESX admins, adding a user, himself or another user, and getting full administrative permission on ESXi hypervisor, being able to encrypt the file, to encrypt the full virtual image, to exfiltrate data, and so on. And you can see in the report of Microsoft, you can see practical examples. For example, I was saying here, the price of this exploitation, it's $1.5 million available to anyone paying this amount of money via Monero, and you'll be able to use this exploit. And you can see some ransomware groups, Black Basta, for example, in the attack chain, they're including this vulnerability. It was revealed recently, 1 week ago, the full story for those attacks by in the Microsoft Threat Intelligence blog. So some ransomware groups are so powerful, again, Lockbit, so they are even able to initiate bug bounty program to invite people to discover, to reveal some vulnerabilities they could exploit. And the remuneration could be even $1 million, if someone is selling to them, revealing a big vulnerability that may be exploited for their attacks. I think this picture I'm showing you on the screen now. It's actually very relevant because you can see a big picture of the ransomware attack scenario. And beside this, with 3 stages: initial access, consolidation and preparation, and impact on target. But beside the stages, you can see as well the countermeasures, how to implement some mitigation, how to protect. For example, all systems which are available, internet exposed services, or at all stages of the attack techniques used by the attackers, patching, it's key. You can see the orange color, yeah? Every attack technique, if you're applying patching, so you're limiting actually the ability of an attacker to exploit actually the vulnerability. You can see some different techniques like multiple factor authentication, yeah, that could be very important. Network segmentation, implementing the principle of least privilege, efficient backup, yeah, application whitelisting, yeah, logging alerting, disabling the macros, using a password manager. So you can see the mitigation techniques, popular mitigation techniques, and how you can apply those techniques at each stage of an attack scenario. Let's go to discuss about let's discuss about protection now, focusing about protection, some tips. But before, I would like to share with you a case. It was happening to a large organization in Ireland, Health Services Executive. It's a huge organization, yeah. They were hit by Conti ransomware group 3 years ago. And well, the attack, it was making actually all records related to the healthcare of people in Ireland unavailable. So it was very, very embarrassing situation. And the attackers are saying, we do understand your difficult situation, so we are going to share the decryption key, but be aware that before encrypting your files, we are giving you the decryption key for free. We exfiltrated your files, sensitive files, and you have to pay 20 million euros. Do not publish those files. Of course, this organization, healthcare public organization, they didn't pay following the recommendations of the authorities. They didn't pay, and the attackers, they kept their promise, and they started to publish on VirusTotal some part of sensitive information related records, healthcare records of citizens in Ireland. It was very embarrassing, yeah, situation. It took 1 month till the judge decided that VirusTotal to remove the files, to issue an order on this, and the database of healthcare, it was downloaded for no less than 20 times, meanwhile by I don't know who, yeah. But okay, this is the story, the timeline and the story. But I think it's more important to focus a bit about the protection strategy of this organization, because it was almost non-existing. Yeah, the attackers are very smart. They are adopting the tactic of low-hanging fruit. And for them, this organization, it was a low-hanging fruit. They had an assessment made by PwC previously. And this assessment, it was revealing lack of cybersecurity measures to protect against cyber attacks. They had no cybersecurity processes well established. They had no configuration management database, CMDB. I mean, the list of the assets in their huge organization. Yeah, you can see the issues in the right side of my slide. Yeah, they did not have a CISO, Chief of Information Security Officer. They had no access control policy updated. They had no internal communication plan. And yeah, it was happening. Situation very bad. Yeah, in their case, and the price paid by this organization, public organization, it was quite high. You can see lack of maturity, cybersecurity services. Do you think they are the only organization in the world in this situation? Probably not, honestly. Yeah. Let's focus on the protection now. What we have to do. Yeah. Trying to share some ideas, useful ideas, maybe for some organizations, some you are representing, to better implement the ransomware protection. What is happening typically when a ransomware incident is happening? So is anyone prepared to handle it? I mean, what is happening at that 0 hour? Yeah, the incident is reported. Anyone is prepared to do what is expected to do according to plan? Well, it's a good question, because you know, some people, I'm talking to the management, senior management of some organizations. I'm delivering in a lot of situations webinars for them, cybersecurity awareness seminars for them. And actually, if I'm asking them about the resolution they had for different cybersecurity related attacks, they are saying, oh, we are not familiar with this because we have some very smart engineers handling this, which is completely less maturity in the approach of the top management in the organization. They should be involved. Anyone should be involved in an organization, because the decision to pay or not to pay the ransom, it's not belonging to the technical guys in the technical teams in the organization. They can provide advice, yeah, but they can provide evidence. But the decision, pay or not to pay, it's a business decision. Yeah, the board of the organization, typically the executives are taking this decision. Okay, they are calling the authorities, and the authorities, what they're saying, okay, you should not pay, try to avoid it, but the business should continue. Sometimes there is no way to continue the business if not paying. Yeah, there is no, it's just a recommendation to not pay, but no country it's actually banning ransom payment. And you know why? Australia, they were planning to do this, but actually they were delaying this decision. Instead, they're asking any organization in Australia to provide information about the payments. Yeah, do not keep this hidden. They have to provide information if they are paying a ransomware, but it's not illegal, yeah, to pay the ransomware still. And even you analyzing the situation, you were saying, okay, we are not going to pay because we have a good backup, we can recover our data. But again, the very common situation is that on double or triple extortion scenario. So the data, it was exfiltrated by the attackers, and this is generating more harm to your organization. Yeah, definitely. Some organizations are saying, okay, we are relying on insurance. Okay, good. Let me share very quickly a situation just to provide an idea, because sometimes the relying just on insurance is not the best situation. Yeah, you heard about NotPetya. It's actually not a ransomware attack, it's a cyber attack. Petya, it was ransomware, but NotPetya, it's very similar, spreading to and affecting many organizations, including Merck, and so on. Merck organization, pharmaceutical organization, they suffered damage estimated at $1.4 billion US. And the management saying, okay, no problem, we have an insurance agreement. When an insurance company, they are covering 1.75, even more. So we are going to the company and we are asking to be reimbursed. But the insurance company, they are saying, okay, sorry, we have a clause in our agreement, an acts of war exclusion clause, and in our opinion, yeah, even at the time, 2017, it was an act of war situation between Russia and Ukraine, and we are not going to pay. It was this year in January, a judge decided that the insurance company, they have to pay, still have to pay. About 7 years after the attack, many companies, they cannot survive, yeah, in a such situation, honestly. I have here a picture, but before the time, it's very limited. We are not intending to analyze each step. My presentation will be shared. And I think it's very useful to build your ransomware protection plan based on those 12 steps responding to a ransomware attacks. Confirmation of the attack, isolation of the device, activating your cyber incident response plan, and so rebuilding, negotiation with the communication with the attackers and so on. I think it's very clear. It's published by Cybersecurity Belgium committee, and I think it's very useful to anyone. Yeah. But definitely, any organization should have a ransomware incident response playbook, including all techniques and procedures should be followed in order to handle an incident ransomware attack, starting with the preparation. It's a lot of preparation to do after limitation, restoring the services, and proactively reduce the risk of future attack. Any organization should have prepared such ransomware playbook. We do have a lot of templates for this, and they are actually after initiating a crisis management scenario in your organization. There are two main paths: technical investigation, yeah, forensic incident triage, different type of forensic investigation, yeah, to try to collect information about the attack, and the business restoration stage, yeah, activating the business continuity planning and recovery strategy, and at the end, root cause identifying and taking some legal actions if possible, and so on. But it's very important as well to consider that the responsibility of the roles in the playbook development belongs not just to security and risk management professionals. Finance people, legal counsel people, procurement, communication should be actually involved. So many stakeholders actually should be involved in dealing with the ransomware incident and especially in the stage of preparation. I have here a picture presenting different teams which are involved in handling an incident, a ransomware incident. So beside the incident responders, and we are more familiar with the activity of this team, we should rely on the activity on specialized law firms. Yeah, they should provide advice. And as well, ransom negotiators. We should be in contact with a team of ransom negotiators. Just provide you a basic example why it's so important to consider ransomware negotiation professional services. Because you can see some ransomware groups, they want to collect your ransom very quickly. You don't have too much time, maybe 1 day or 2 days, 3 days, no more. But some other groups which are asking for more ransom, higher amounts. Yeah, or ransom, typically they are negotiating, they're open to negotiation. Yeah, sometimes for county more than 20 days, for logbit more than 20 days. So it's and you have to make some benefits, yeah, to use this time. Yeah, I have, for example, in the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack, I have an example here of the conversation, the chat between the attackers and the victims. So the attackers were asking initially $30 million or even more if paying later. And actually the victim, they're saying, oh, we are prepared to offer you $2 million, no more, because we don't have capability. Of course, the attackers, they're saying, oh, we have access to your financial reports. You know, you are able to pay this amount. We are not kidding. So, and the last offer of the victim is saying, we are authorized to pay $4 million, no more. And the attackers are saying, okay, the last price will be $12 million. You pay now for that $7 million you have in your account, and so the rest of the amount in 72 hours. Well, they did pay actually. In Colonial Pipeline, if you're checking Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack, they were paying for that $7 million. Eventually, they were able to recover some money, more than $2 million. And actually, the dark side group, they were demanding public excuses, apologize, because the inability of the affiliates that it was creating a huge damage. It was not just about the money payment, but it was a huge damage of a big fuel pipeline in the United States. You can check the historic colonial pipeline attack and so on. And they disappearing, fearing about the legal consequences about it. But of course, they are operating under a different name. Okay, at the end of our conversation, it's a short conversation, I did promise you about, I want to provide you some useful advice for ransomware protection to consider. Please check if everything here is in your ransomware protection plan. We have 3 stages: prepare your recovery plan, limit the scope of damage, and make for the attackers harder to get in. Some advice: update very frequently your systems. Yeah, because this is key, to update your systems. Update anytime very quickly. It's creating a better protection for you. You know this. Test your backup plan, because sometimes we are saying, okay, we have a very good backup, but actually the ransomware agent, it was stopping the backup agent maybe a month ago. Yeah, you have to test the backup and recovery. Security awareness training, it's very important, because more than 80% of the attacks are starting, ransomware attacks are starting with social engineering, phishing attack, compromising technique. Think proactively, be very open, learn about the new techniques employed by the attacker, stick on your plan, test your recovery plan. Tabletop exercises, attack simulations, involve everyone in organization, including the top management. They should understand that security is everyone's responsibility, and actually building the security culture in an organization, an efficient security culture, it's actually probably the best technique to defend against cyber attacks, including ransomware attacks. Okay, we are on the end of our conversation. Thank you very much for watching my presentation, attending the presentation. Now it will be time for the questions, but I'm passing the microphone to our host, Shilpa. The stage is yours.
Yes, thank you so much, George, for delivering such an informative session. It was really very interesting, and our attendees share the same sentiments. Now, if you are interested to learn more about our program, do let us know in the poll that's going to be conducted now. Let us know your preferred mode of training, and we will reach out to you soon. So, George, shall we start with the Q&A?
Yes, we should start it. I'm ready.
Okay, great. So our first question to you is, how do you combat such ransomware attacks, and what happens if the company you are providing security services happens to get attacked?
Oh, I mean, the question it's more related to supply chain attacks. Yeah, we had a very short conversation. We should focus more, because we did learn that the attackers are considering this technique to target the security providers, to target the IT companies providing services, providing update services. And Kaseya, it was just one of the examples. And of course, you have plenty of responsibility to those guys. You remember the recent attack, yeah, happening. Yeah, it was not a ransomware attack, but you know, a large company that it was actually providing security services. It was making millions of Windows computers unusable, not starting. So it's actually a lot of conversation about this. My advice, honestly, is that to any organization when building the supply chain, the list of the suppliers, try to include in the list of the suppliers only trusted suppliers, make some checks with them, test them, implement testing strategies, not just about auditing, requesting for audit, but as well test the security with them, the security services. And well, this is quite challenging. My opinion is that is better to limit the number of suppliers to the top suppliers, yeah, based on agreements, mutual agreement to check, but keep the list of suppliers as minimum as short as possible.
Thank you, George, for answering that question. Our next question to you is how we can make sure that backups are not infected by the ransomware.
Well, backup testing, I told you, as a good advice to test the backup strategy, to monitor your backup tools, to try recovery, and to do very good monitoring. Yeah, you can consider to test everything related to backup, not only the capability to recover the data, but as well testing actually the security of the backup, and work only with trusted backup providers and test recovery very often.
Thank you, George, for answering that question. Our next question to you is, how do you convince management to invest more in cybersecurity? At present, most organizations just have bare basic AV and firewalls only.
Yeah, okay, it's a very good question. I told you about some workshops I'm delivering for the management of some organizations. Unfortunately, many organizations are inviting me to do this after they are suffering a ransomware attack, not before. This is painful, yeah. And the most difficult step in actually convincing the organization to invest in cybersecurity, it's inviting them, making them, all the stakeholders, to be part of the security strategy of the organization. It's not very easy. They should understand, because we have to adopt the language of business. Don't go to the management of the organization and talk them about firewalls, antivirus, everything. It's black box for them. Tell them about the business risks. Talk to them the language of money. And this is the main responsibility of the Chief Information Security Officer, which is actually managing this process of interaction with the management, convincing the management to invest in security and making everyone to be part of security strategy. I told you about those workshops. Initially, they are trying to deny their availability to such workshop delivered especially for the management organization. We are playing some tabletop exercises and simulating some attacks and making them to understand the responsibility. Ransomware attack is the best scenario to play, because again, the ransomware protection strategy, like to pay or not to pay the ransom, so it's the decision of the management. They should be involved and they should be prepared for this.
Thank you, George, for answering that question. Our next question to you is, what were the key findings and maturity ratings of HSES cybersecurity processes as identified by PwC in their 2018 assessment?
So you mean what they are identified? I think the main issues. Could you repeat the question, please? Not sure if I understood, because.
Yeah. So, what were the key findings and maturity ratings of HSE cybersecurity processes as identified by PwC in their 2018 assessment?
Okay, yes. I think basically I'm actually stressing some ideas I did present in one of my slides. Yeah, actually they had no security strategy, cybersecurity strategy at all, because the auditors at PwC on a scale, they are assessing the maturity of the cyber protection processes. Yeah, and on a scale from 0 to 5, they're expecting most of the organization to reach the level 3. But this organization, HSC, they were just at the initial level 1. So I told you they were a low-hanging fruit, and the attackers, they knew this. And actually, they had no security strategy. They had no access control policy updated. They had no chief information security officer appointed. They had not even, for such huge organization, more than 100,000 devices, they had no configuration management database. I mean, that registry of the devices, how to protect those devices if you don't have even the list of devices in your organization. Yeah, they were completely unprepared for this. And the report, it was revealing, sorry, just to add a few words.
Apologies.
Actually, the PwC auditors, they presented the report to the management of the HSC organization. You know what they did? The management? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They did ignore the report.
Thank you, George, for answering that question. Our next question to you is, actually, we have learned a lot of questions for you today.
I could imagine, yeah. But let's pick some questions, yeah.
Yes, please. We'll take as much as we can. So our next question to you is, which is better to pay the ransom and get your data back, not guaranteed though, or make good use of your backups?
Well, again, there is no single answer here, because that could be good if you can rely on a very efficient backup strategy, and you can identify this, the backup, it's working very well, you have backup of everything, you can recover your data from backup. But so you don't have to pay, definitely. Why to pay in a such situation? But the scenario, it's a bit complicated. After the Maze, in 2019, the Maze started to create a model, exfiltrating your data before encrypting it. Even if you have a very good backup strategy, you still have to pay to the criminals not to disclose, not to publish the data, which is making the situation far way more complicated. On the other hand, lot of ransomware agents, they are, after infecting the victim systems, they are not starting immediately to encrypt your files. They're disabling the backup agent, they're deleting the shadow copy on your machines, and you do believe that you can rely on an efficient backup strategy, but in fact, the strategy is not working anymore. Your backups are not good. So for this reason, many organizations are considering not just a single technique of recovery. So you are considering backup. So first of all, you can check the backup, you can recover the data from backup, and the data, it was not exfiltrated. Okay, you are lucky. You don't have to pay, there is no other damage, you can recover the data. But sometimes, well, this is not working, yeah, because the backup is not accurate, the data, it was exfiltrated, and you still have to pay. And many organizations, even actually they're paying the ransom, they're trying to start different techniques of recovery, including backup, because you never know. In a lot of situations, people are paying, organizations are paying the ransom, but the key is not working. It's working very slow, so it's faster to recover the data from your backup. So you have to configure multiple response strategy in such ransomware attacks. There is not just a single technique. Yeah, you have to combine multiple strategies in order to reach your goal to recover the services as soon as possible and with a minimum harm, yeah, for your reputation.
Thank you so much, George, for answering that question. Our next question to you is, in your opinion, which particular aspect of the network are attackers inclined to penetrate?
Well, they are trying, if we're discussing about the technical means, they're trying anytime to identify some techniques to take remote control via the network of the victims. For example, using tools like CobbleStrike, PowerShare Remote, and so on. But the most common technique is that one of social engineering, phishing emails. So they are bypassing actually the network protection. The network protection is not helping you too much. You have to monitor everything, but actually the network protection, if you're implementing, even segmenting the network, yeah, could be one of the techniques. But you should not rely on this because many attackers are conducting attacks manually, phishing attacks and so on, and they are able to bypass the network protection strategy. But again, network segmentation, implementing security as monitoring all remote connections could help you in order to limit the opportunities for someone to penetrate your network environment.
Thank you, George, for answering that question. Our next question to you is, how to defend against ransomware?
It's a generic question. I think we did discuss a lot of techniques. What to say, how to defend, implementing. Okay, I will provide just a very basic answer. Be prepared. Implement a ransomware protection plan. This is key because the ransomware protection plan, it's including multiple techniques, should be adopted by your organization. Anyone should be involved in this plan. I told you about multiple stakeholder teams to be implemented, to be aware and to be part of the ransomware protection plan. So sticking on the plan, protection plan, it's actually the best ransomware protection strategy.
Thank you, George, for answering that question. We'll take last question for the day. Which is the best way to enter cybersecurity sector?
Oh, I think it's about preparation, to learn more, to certify, to, well, you know, cybersecurity protection is something very complex nowadays. I think in my presentation, we had the opportunity to discuss about sophisticated techniques of the attackers to generate not only ransomware attacks, but any type of cybersecurity attack. To be a cyber defender, you need skills, definitely. In a lot of situations, this is not a job to be efficient in protecting against ransomware attacks, for example. This may be not the job of beginners, but everything, any journey has a starting point. We should actually learn about cyber attacks. We should start actually learning about the networking environment, how to protect the networking environment. We should start with the basics. And for example, organizations like ECCU, they do provide a very large portfolio of gradual courses starting from basic trainings like essentials to expert training to learn more about cybersecurity. But you should feel a passion for this. Yeah, definitely. It's not just a 9-to-5 job for most of us. You should feel a patient. You should be a balanced person. Yeah. Sometimes, in order to discover an issue or a vulnerability, or to deal with an incident, yeah, we are working for weeks or even for months. And you should be in position of knowledge. It's good to certify, because otherwise nobody is believing you manage the skills. It's very important to certify. You should learn more about the certifications. EC Council is providing a lot of certifications, yeah, in their portfolio. If you visit EC Council University or EC Council site, you can see the list of certifications. And good luck. Yeah, it's I would say that at a global, worldwide, if you do analyze, there are nearly 5 million of cybersecurity unoccupied jobs. We have to fill these jobs, but it's not very easy. Yeah, because it's a process of learning, certifying, and by the way, the unemployment rate in cybersecurity, it was anytime 0, and we're expecting to see this for a long time. So good luck for career adoption in cybersecurity. If you want to talk more, provide you more information about the patterns and careers, paths and careers, you can contact me on LinkedIn, or so you can contact the organizers of the webinar, and we'll be very happy to assist you to provide some guidance.
Thank you again to our wonderful speaker, George, for answering those questions and for the great presentation and knowledge shared with our global audiences. It was a pleasure to have you with us, and we are looking for more and more sessions with you. Before we conclude the webinar, George, would you like to give a small message to our audience?
Well, yes, of course. Yes, of course. So preparation, it's a best protection.
Thank you so much, George, for the message to our audience.